all, welcome to the channel. We're going back to 1981. It's Alan here, by the way. We're going back to 1981, May 81, which was just kind of before, it was definitely before I was going off to do my army college apprenticeship, built in with basic training to go and join full service. And this appeared on Top of the Pops. I remember it vividly. And I remember my testosterone doing about 180 spike because it had that thumping beat. So I know the song. But we'll get into this. And I always do a little bit of research to find out about the band. And I know they were touring up to a couple of years ago. And Ed Tudor, he'll be roughly 70 now, born in 54. Yeah, he'll be 71. And they were still touring a couple of years ago. But the more I read about him, the more I thought, Jesus, he's such an interesting character. And we'll get into that and the song, the fun of the song, and have a little look at what it reminds me and what I understand about it now. So guys, stick with me. This is a particularly British song, as you'll hear one of the references in the song. But I just remember it fondly. Not every song has got to be a sweeping 13-minute prog rock, jazz-infused masterpiece. I love them. Of course I do. But sometimes I look back at songs that were just fun and had a beat and mattered then, and I want to know why they mattered then, and do I still have a fondness for them? So let's find out. Let's get into it. Tenpole Tudor, Swords of a Thousand Men from 1981. God, I remember when this exploded. It was like, look at the lyrics. It's really not complicated. Deep in the castle and back from the wars. Back with my baby and the fire burned tall. I'm in Lord of the Rings. I'm in Game of Thrones. I'm that lone warrior. I'm the Witcher. I'm setting out. And I didn't know all of those things then, although I had read Lord of the Rings when I was about 12. But I wasn't arrogant. Maybe I was. Maybe that's what I was thinking. It was that whole basis of beat and manliness, whatever that means. But to me, that was this. The Swords of a Thousand Men. Hoorah went the men down below. All outside was the rain and snow. So it's miserable. It's dark. But they're having a drink and they're deep in the trenches of the castle and they're going out for a fight, these men. Yeah, which I say with no irony. I mean it. Yeah. They've probably all had a barrel of ore, much, much more. And we'll get into this guy because he's super interesting, those you don't know. Genuinely worth looking at in more detail because I think these were formed in 77, broke through in 81, had a couple of hits. The screenshot here is Wonderbar, one of their other hits, which I remember. But he's such an interesting character, but this is such an interesting song. His lineage is interesting, linked to some deep heritage and lineage. But it just looks like he's worked his backside off and done everything he can to enjoy his life, his music, his creativity. And I'll talk about why. So let's see some more of it. I promise you, he's an interesting character. So he's probably singing about medieval knights, Arthur's time, Arthurian legend. doesn't matter. You can go into the Middle Ages, dark times in history, but men and warriors still had to be men and warriors. And before anyone piles in and starts harping on about toxic masculinity or any of that nonsense, I'm not interested. This song was going back to what it was. It's a nod back, it's a tribute, it's a bit of fun, and there's some more lines come into it. That's just saying this is what men of that time did, the warriors with knives and shields and swords, and they had to drink for courage, technically, you could argue. And they were English hearts. Yeah, nothing wrong with it. Love it. It's not a nationalist song, Jesus. But I'll talk about him more in a minute. I've pulled up the facts. I've got the lyrics here just to remind me. I can hear it clearly. And this is post-punk. And I think it was like the Stray Cats now were around then. So I was hearing some rockabilly. And it was there was all over the chart. You sort of had that new romantic stuff coming in. You had the post-punk with the Police. So it was a real hotbed that late 70s, well, 76 onwards really, through was just great for different styles. And this didn't capture a generation, but it captured imagination. And there was the subtle twist in the song, just enough to give it another leg. You hear that? Over the hill with the swords, 1,000 men was the finish of the previous verse. The nights come along at the end of the day. Some were half alive and some had run away. So he's just letting you know in that one line that not all warriors are warriors, that all those who were going into battle could stand the course. He doesn't call them cowards. He just says some had run away. Has to be a fact, is a fact. Throughout history, it's a fact. And that just changes enough of the song for you to go, whoa, hang on a minute. And I hope that people appreciate that. And with him himself, and some of the stuff I found out. So his lineage goes back to Geoffrey Chaucer and a Welsh poet, aristocracy. Hence his mom added the name in Tudor Pole. His name is Edric Felix Tudor Pole, Ed Tudor. He formed the band. They had the hits. And also, he's done loads of things. I mean, he was in Harry Potter. Was it The Philosopher's Secret or something like that? Never made the cut, but made the extended version. He was Mr. Bogrin, a storekeeper. He was in Cull the Conqueror in 97. He's been in the Rock and Roll Swindle. He sang Who Killed Bambi. He also did a version of Rock Around the Clock on the album. And he's just all over the place doing different things. Not all over the place. He's doing his music and he's writing. And I'm sure if I went digging deeper, I'd find writing credits or maybe the odd novella or something. So here's a guy and he did the Rocky Horror Picture Show in 1990, which Richard O'Brien was doing a TV show who wrote the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Richard O'Brien had done the Crystal Maze, and when Richard O'Brien stepped out of the Crystal Maze, in steps Ed Tudor, did it for a couple of years. And I remember watching it. I wasn't a big fan of the Crystal Maze, and I wasn't a disliker either. I just wasn't that bothered. But I remember seeing him, and I go, that's bloody him. And these kind of people fascinate me because he's obviously creative. He's educated, well-educated. But he's just been at it for, coming up to 50 years, I should imagine. Doing everything, multiple TV shows, films, appearances in different shows and still performing. And he's not so much grinding out a living because he's doing that, obviously. But he's just staying in that place where he wants to be. That's what I get from it. And that song, that little line, run away, give me a hint, that he carries a depth. Maybe I'm presuming it, but it's in that song, that one line, some had run away. that just tells me that it's not a glorification, but it's a harken back to, it's a celebration, and it's a kind of it's a look back at the times of the warriors in our English hearts. But he also says, yeah, but some run away in the dark of the night. Let's finish it. So a couple of questions before we wrap it up. We've had we always have medieval shows. We've had them, and recently we've had, Last Kingdom and Vikings, and then themed on fantasy. We've had Witcher, now we've had all sorts. What do you think about songs that have a medieval theme? I know there's lots of bands, Genesis have done it, Zepp have done it, loads have done it. I'm sure hundreds, if not thousands of songs have been written with medieval themes. What do you think about it? Is it escapism or is it nostalgia? And this song with that one line, is it a triumph of battle or is it hint at darker realities? And what about modern songs? Which ones could you put on the channel and say, go and have a listen to this? Because I've got one coming up and I think you'll like it. Summing up, do I still like it now? Yes. Do I still feel like I could be Aragon or I could be one of those guys off in the battle? I'm not sure if I'd had the stomach for real battle, even though I was a soldier. Carrying a sword anyway. What do I think about it? I think I put most of it on the line. Guys, get in the comments. Give me a thumbs up. Let's talk. I like it. Till next time, take care.